G'day. In a wonderful career spanning 350 TV specials and documentaries, I've had some truly exhilarating moments that get the adrenaline pumping. We're about to show you some of those in this episode of Travel Oz. G'day, welcome, I'm Greg Granger. The year was 1986. I'd just been poached from the 9 network to go to Channel 7. The promise was double the salary and one documentary a year, and that documentary we chose to make was in Tibet. We became the first people to ever whitewater raft through Tibet. We took this small camera, I was filming on this, Super 8 film, and we made this sensational film. Not only sensational, it was picked up by National Geographic. White Fury. Enjoy.
This set of rapids started out fine. With Richard filming from shore, I'd taken a small underwater camera to film from the bow of the second raft. That camera, with water blurring its lens, still captured one of the Tibetans, Chumba, being thrown into the rapids. Not only couldn't he swim, but the water was so cold he could have died of hypothermia within 30 seconds. We scooped him out just in time. But the damage had been done. From then on, he clung to the middle of the raft, refusing to paddle when every stroke was needed. Later, as the Zangpo grew even wilder, Chumba deserted us altogether, choosing to walk along the cliff face after his near drowning. We named this awesome section of the valley the washing machine. The Zangpo was being outright hostile, and we scouted its banks, searching for its least lethal passage. The washing machine lived up to its name, every wave tumbling us up and down. Suddenly, our raft was swept up the side of a huge wave, but with the Tibetans no longer paddling, we were badly underpowered. Our raft was almost capsized, and another Tibetan toppled overboard. This time it was Topkay, but now he was being swept away quicker than our rafts. We paddled feverishly to drag him out of the freezing waters. That evening, after we bailed out our craft for the umpteenth time, we walked downstream to contemplate a huge stopper spanning the width of the Zangpo. This was indeed a monster hole, with the chance we might never surface. We dubbed it the Grim Reaper. To test its power, we tied a life jacket to a rubber inner tube. We never saw either again. Sadly, we were forced to halt our rafting, for the moment at least. The Grim Reaper, we decided, was just too dangerous.
Well, next, our very first episode of Travel Oz used to go out on the ABC. We've made some 210 programs since, but for that very first program, we took off way out into the Indian Ocean to Christmas Island. Local guide, Linda Cash, diving with us, and as we dived, a juvenile whale shark came swimming up to us. Swimming, kept on coming, came right up to my face. What a scoop in this episode of Travel Oz. It's the king of the ocean, the giant whale shark.
He'd obviously seen us and he came in just to have a little look and to play amongst the bubbles. Every time you dive with a whale shark, it's like the first time, because you just see this magical, huge fish coming towards you, and that's what it is, a gentle giant. And it's just swimming towards you, just very, very curious, looking to see what you're doing. And it just makes you get all excited inside and your heart pumps and you think, oh, just to be in the ocean with it is absolutely magic.
The thrill of swimming with one whale shark is overwhelming. Imagine how we feel when a second whale shark appears.
How is this? Not one, but two juvenile whale sharks swimming round and around. This is just a sensational experience. Sensational. I'm going back down for some more.
That is so amazing to see two in the water at the same time. That is just incredible.
Now, they're huge as they are, Linda. They're absolutely huge, but they're only juveniles, so imagine how big the big ones are.
Well, that's right. Yeah, one was about 4 metres and one was about 3 metres, I think, with those two.
Now, they don't seem very frightened at all.
No, they're not. They're very curious, and they'll come up and they'll play in your bubbles, and they just love it, and I love it. They're just so beautiful. See how gentle they are?
Now, what is this about the bubbles? They seem to actually like cavorting in that, playing in that.
They do, yeah.
Do they think it's feed?
I don't know whether they think it's feed, but it's just good for them. So it goes into the gills, they blow it out the gills. It's fantastic. I was amazed. I was swimming around looking at the backfish, and I thought, wow! And I turned around and I saw this big silhouette coming towards me. It was just awesome.
Yeah, there's actually a theory that Christmas Island is a bit of a whale shark nursery, and seeing ones this size, and we saw one about 2.5 metres last week, so that actually really adds credence to that theory that they might actually breed here. So we need lots more research to find out really what happens with them. Certainly they believe the adults actually head from here down to Ningaloo, but perhaps the young ones are staying for the season, just staying down deep, and when they're big enough, they head off down south or up north again. But yeah, it does certainly appear that the younger ones are hanging around here more and more often. They're just such gentle creatures, absolute gentle giants of the ocean, stunning creatures.
This thing is running! How you did it again! 2 whale sharks! And I've got the photo! That was just unbelievable! They just played and played and played. They just did not want to go away. Wicked!
So we're commissioned by the Seven Network to make a 7-part series, Australia's Deadliest Destinations. We're out in the desert, out of Alice Springs, with a snake handler, Rex Neindorf. Took a deadly king brown snake right up to his nose. Watch what happened.
Of all the snakes Rex will handle today, the aggressive king brown is full of more venom than any other Australian snake.
They don't like people too much, so if I move near him, he doesn't like movement. See the neck flattening out? He doesn't like it at all. He wants to be left alone. But if I stay nice and still, you see he goes straight past me. So if you've got a snake close to you, you stand really still, wait till they move away from you. Very simple idea.
How lethal is this guy?
These guys hold more venom than any other snake in Australia. So he could potentially hold, 300 or 400 milligrams of venom. So when these guys bite, they chew into the bite. Lots of venom comes out. If you're bitten by one of these, it hurts like hell because they're breaking muscle tissue down.
Now, you were showing me close to boot
Yep.
there. You were saying he sometimes strikes your boot?
Definitely, especially with my shoes, because where I work, of course, I'm dealing with mice and rats all the time, and occasionally I've got a bit of mouse smell on my shoe. And the old snake will wander past, and it might look like a shoe, but if it smells like a mouse, it's a mouse. So they'll have a good go at your shoe. A couple of days ago, we just had a dog bitten in town and died within about half an hour. And the worst thing about dogs is they get their nose right up close to them, just like I've done here. The snake will get a bit of a fright and have a bit of a nip on the nose, and it's because it's so close to the brain, they can die very quickly. Little fella. Right on the nose.
There's not too many people in the world that would let a venomous snake touch their nose. Why are you doing that?
Oh, basically he's only having a smell. As long as I don't smell like a mouse, I should be pretty okay.
You're not frightened at all, are you?
No. Now, if you smell like a mouse, then you've got big problems, but as long as you don't, you're pretty well fine. I mean, I do this because I'm used to handling a snake, but any person outside, you just wouldn't do it because you're going to flinch, and as soon as you flinch, they'll strike at you. Go away, fly.
What happens next was never meant to happen.
You okay?
Hope so.
What happened then?
Oh, he had to go up my nose. Just open that bag up.
Has he got you? Did he get you?
Oh, I hope not.
Seriously, let's get the snake in there and look at that nose of yours.
No blood?
No, it seems like you're okay, mate. I mean, that was pretty damn close. You okay?
Oh, go back and have a look in the car first.
That strike could kill Rex, but he remains calm.
Oh, we'll see how things go. I feel okay at the moment. Let's have a look.
Just one minute amount of venom could be fatal.
There's a very slight nick. Yeah, there's a little slight nick under there, but hopefully it's just a dry bite.
A dry bite would mean no venom was injected.
This is quite serious, Rex. You've been bitten.
No need to head to the hospital, he decides, but rather time to release his attacker.
Okay, we'll just go and release this thing.
Rex has been remarkably fortunate.
No
The
blood.
snake failed to inject
Sounds like
venom.
you're okay, mate. I mean, that was pretty damn close.
Rex survived an
We
attack
might
by the most poison-laden of
dump him
all
out
Australian
the bag.
snakes.
He's itching to get away. Well,
He
let's
did
do
his
it.
job instead
He wants to
and
head off.
saved them.
We'll just let him go and we'll,
Today, the King Brown returns to
head
its
off.
desert
He'll be okay
kingdom.
out here.
Valerie Taylor, what an incredible woman she is. Along with her husband Ron, they used to make so many underwater films, spectacular footage they made. They even did scenes for Jaws. So she's been bitten by sharks so many times. Take a look at this.
Back in the 60s, Ron came up with the idea that if chainmail protected a warrior from an arrow or a sword, it would have to protect a person from the razor-sharp edge of a shark's tooth. The mail, it was made for butcher's boning glove. We had a suit made and Ron did the filming and I did the testing. I have no recollection of being afraid when I've been wearing the mesh suit. Not even when I was bitten, I wasn't afraid. You're too busy, you don't have time to be afraid. To be bitten and thrown around in the water by a shark, a wild animal, is very exciting, very exhilarating.
Yeah, I was wearing the mesh suit when a shark actually bit me on the shoulder. What sticks in my mind is the sound of the teeth grating on the steel mesh. But even these razor-sharp teeth cannot cut through that steel mesh. Valerie and I were in the cage filming the great white shark swimming around, and the steel cable that was tethering our cage to the boat went underneath the shark, and he spun around, and it went through his mouth and around his tail, and the shark just went crazy.
He twisted it all around himself, and the people on the boat thought the tension of this cable on the boat might break the boat, so they released the cable, and the shark had it. I had on scuba, but Ron only had a snorkel, and the shark is taking the cage down, and it's a wild ride. We're all over the place.
Every time the cage started to go down, I had to take a big breath and hold my breath, but the shark tired and the cage floated back to the surface and I was able to breathe again. And the thrashing around didn't last all that long, only about 5 or 10 minutes. Then we had to set about rescuing the shark because it was really tangled. It couldn't release itself. And we eventually took it onto this rocky reef and untangled it.
Opened its mouth and pushed water through it, let the waves roll in, and put a tag on it. First great white that was ever tagged. And we took its temperature, and it was warm-blooded.
But the unfortunate thing is that the tag was returned about 6 months later. It had become, the shark had died in a fisherman's net.
Of all the occasions Valerie Taylor has been bitten by sharks, the worst attack took place when she was diving with a large group of sharks.
I think we counted 26 sharks. We had 2 other men in the water to protect us from the sharks, but unfortunately there were just so many, they were flat out protecting themselves. And I had a fish in my hand, waving it at one shark, and I felt a slight bump on my leg. It was very gentle, and I looked down and my leg was in the shark's mouth. I knew from all the biting in the mesh suit that when sharks bite, they have to go and saw through your flesh. And I grabbed it so it couldn't do that, and punched it in the gills, and it let go, and it turned around and came back.
You were above me and I looked up and I saw this shark actually on your leg, so I just swam up as fast as I could to assist you, and so were the other divers.
I looked at the blood coming out of my leg and I thought, I'm going to bleed to death now, but it slowed down. I actually grabbed the wound with my hand, and my middle finger disappeared through the wetsuit and into my leg, and I thought, oh. So when I hit the surface, I called out to the camera crew on the boat.
Give her some help out of the water. Valerie, they bitten on the leg.
That's all right. I'm not that bad. I'm hovering in my fish with the top half and his dad will bite in the bottom half.
Oh, that one's cut right into your wetsuit, Valerie. How bad is it?
I'll have to look. Oh!
Right. Oh dear, look at all that blood.
No, Ronnie, it's really bad.
Lay down, get your
Stand
leg up. Somebody ought to get on the horn. We'll just have a look at it first.
Oh,
you want to know
you're
it
going to
goes
be
blood?
horrified. You're going to be horrified.
Yeah, it's a bad one. Bad cut.
I think you should leave the wetsuit on it.
Yeah, that's a bad. Leave the wetsuit on. Leave it on. Bad cut. Yeah, that'll have to be stitched. And we work so often with these sharks, and now it happens. I mean,
Well, that's one of those things, Ron.
yeah, well, there were so many of them, you couldn't watch them all at the same time.
Nothing much we can do about it, as long as I don't bleed too much. I got him off very quickly, you know, because
Keep your leg up. Keep it up.
you know, I felt this hit, you know, like a great bang on the leg, and I immediately turned around and hit the shark. And that's why only one set of teeth went in. You can see where he was about to take the whole piece out.
And they called the Coast Guard, who picked you and me up.
And they took me to hospital, and they had a plastic surgeon waiting. He put in about
300 stitches, over 300, but it was plastic surgery. And he did 3 layers, one in the muscle, one in the fat, and one under the skin. And there's hardly any scar left now.
I've been bitten by sharks probably hundreds of times, but most of the time I've had the chainmail suit on. And I have been bitten by other sharks on 3 occasions when I haven't had the mesh suit on.
I think the last time was a bull shark got you on the ankle, didn't it?
Yeah, but that was my fault. I put my foot in its mouth practically.
Well, yes. If you're having high adventure in the ocean, you do have these little unfortunate encounters sometimes, but we understand that. That's part of the excitement of living.
I wouldn't describe myself as brave or stupid or anything like that. It's just part of the job. I guess if you ride a horse, you're occasionally going to fall off. It's part of being a rider of a horse. And if you drive a fast car, you're prone to having an accident. You know, it's just part of the job.
Next, crocodiles. A big saltwater croc on the attack. And the victim, Alicia Sorahan, camping way up north on the Queensland coast. Here's Alicia and her experience with that croc.
It's very tempting to go swimming, but we don't go swimming, but I've seen people up there that do go swimming. We were asleep about 4 o'clock in the morning. And we heard this loud screaming, and I thought, oh, someone's having a nightmare.
Someone that's screaming, it's really in trouble. It's a noise you'll never forget.
Oh, God, get the baby!
The first thing Andrew yelled out was, grab the baby. So I picked up the whole bassinet, and then from what I could see, the crocodile started to take Andrew drag him out of the tent.
It was really loud and terrible.
Yeah, and I looked over at the granddaughter who was sleeping with us, and she was sound asleep, and the screaming kept going, so we realised it was outside here somewhere. No. So I grabbed the torch, I unzipped the tent, and we started going out of the tent. And I started going this way. I thought Alicia was behind me, but she'd gone that way. And as I come around this corner, because I had to go around the fireplace and all the timber work, next thing I shone the torch onto this croc. I couldn't believe the size of it. Then I thought the only thing I'm going to stop it with is with the axe. So I actually came back here. The axe was in the wood heap.
Well, in the meantime, I sort of rushed around here and I spoke to Diane. I said, you know, where's the baby? And she said, the baby's all right, but it's Croc got Andrew.
Grabbed the gun and run out of the tent, run past Mum and Dad's tent. Just the screaming at the other side of the tent, Andrew's tent.
And all I could think was just jumping on it to try and pull it off Andrew. Well, I had my arm sort of over him and was trying to hang on to pull him off Andrew as he sort of threw back his head. And that's when he hit me on the face and broke my nose and that. And then when I went off the low, that's when he grabbed my arm. I couldn't move. He had hold of me then. And
it was pitch black. You could hardly see anything. You know? I just sort of come over and jumped onto his back as well, like kneeled across the back of him with the gun and fired a couple of shots into him.
By the time I got back down to where the croc is, you'd swear you could see the bullets going into it. It looked like everything was going in slow motion.
Eventually it released me and I got up and my arm was just hanging there.
She was okay, but then later on found out that she, her arm was pretty torn up.
I looked up, Mum was sort of running around and Dad came up and grab her and take her away.
I spotted her because it looked like about a 3-inch hole in her arm.
My arm was just hanging down. It was only hanging by a little bit of skin here and a few veins there or something or other. It was just down here. I thought it was gone. It was just hanging there, you know, walking around. Look, my arm's gone, you know.
Got up and fired 2 more shots into him, and he sort of just, that was it. You know, he just died then.
So I started the generator up so I get a bit of light on the place, make sure there was nothing else around. There could have been more than one, you know. And we actually got a towel off the line and wrapped it around real tight, and we thought, well, we've got to get some help somewhere because we couldn't get any help. No one would answer the CB radios or anything, and I thought the best way was to try and take her out. You know, it was a 5-hour drive out of there.
Well, it was strange. I didn't really feel anything. It just was numb.
Put a pillow underneath her arm, another cushion on top, and the daughter sat in the back with the 2 grandkids, and that's the way we drove out. We checked to see whether Andrew was all right. First they said he was just bleeding. We didn't realise at the time that he had a broken leg and a broken arm, but I don't think he would have survived the trip with a broken leg in the back of the car because it was 124 kilometres and it took us 5 hours.
Well, I'm 54 kilos and he's 300 kilos, so it was a big crocodile. It was 4.2 metres, yes, it was a big croc, yeah, but I mean, somebody had to help Andrew and I was there first, so that was my decision. I jumped on him to help him.
I think she's braver than what I am because my first reaction was to get an axe. It's the only thing I could think of stopping this monster.
I'd do it again. I'd do it again. Anybody would do it. Yeah. It was pretty traumatic at the time, you know, but it's all past now and it's okay. Yeah.
3 months after the attack, Alicia receives a surprise package.
Oh boy, it's a bit heavy. Didn't realise how big he was. This is the head, this is the big fella. He's back home again now, he's heavy, certainly heavy. Have a rest there, boy. Open him up and have a look at him. They're big ones all right. Actually, my arm was around this other side here somewhere. Oh, have a look at that. You've got a big mouth. Well, my arm, it was in here. I was trapped, I just couldn't get away. He had me held on the arm. And I couldn't pull, I would have lost my arm for sure. I've got 2 plates in here and everything else. Another 3 months to wait now if the bone's growing. I've been hoping it's going to grow all the time. It's coming on anyway. Feels good to see him. Yeah, it's great. Yes, I didn't think I'd be here. No, certainly didn't. That's good.
Well, hot air ballooning, you think of that as a gentle sport, gently floating over the countryside. Well, catch this one. Back in 1988, the bicentennial year, there was an event staged from Western Australia right through to New South Wales. Hundreds of balloonists from all over the world flying at an event that should never ever have taken place. High winds, lots of drama. Take a look at this.
First, there's the task of throwing a marker over the spot where the hair balloon has landed.
We have to throw this little baby over the side and hit the cross in the centre. It will be a real challenge in itself. Yeah. Right? It's not too bad. Not too bad. I'll get some points. For my first attempt, that's not too bad. But we could have done better. We didn't do too bad. There's a few closer than me, though.
Right, move out. Now, though, it's time to land. The wind is blowing at 20 knots, guaranteeing landings that will be fast and tough. Watching these dramatic touchdowns, Roz and crew are clearly worried. The rules stipulate they have to come down no more than half a kilometre from the target, regardless of conditions.
Okay, we're going to land just on the other side of the fence. Everyone ready? You ready, Damon? Quick, 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 quick. You ready? You ready? Hop that pallet light. Are you right? Yep. Damon, pull that line in. Pull it in. Pull it in, pull it in, pull it in. Someone give me a hand, please. Pull on it. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Keep pulling. Hands. Pull your
boot. Can you straighten your burner up?
You alright?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, it's so... All the way. That's a girl. Geez, you're a strong little woman.
Stop. I mean, can we stop pulling or do we need to get to that battle?
Oh, wow. That was something fantastic. Oh. My goodness.
There were guys this morning who took off, and if you stood next to them, you could almost smell the excitement, the adrenaline that they had in them. And you could see their faces, and they turned around to the crowd and they went, hey! Because they knew they'd gone past their limit. And that's exciting to see.
Many balloons are already damaged. Others collide on takeoff.
We're not heavy anymore!
All leave at very high speed, while the Japanese are up, up and back down.
Landing was fantastic, and today we came over those trees, and Ross said, I just want you to touch them, just touch them, just touch them. And as soon as we came over the top, I said, Ross, start ripping. And Peter and I just grabbed poles and stood there, and we came in for the loveliest landing, and three guys on Earth really got a lot of love out of what we did this morning.
For some crews, though, there's no love at all in these fast landings. Susanna Mielch from Denmark winds up with concussion and a broken ankle from one brutal landing. And Serge Barunius from France breaks his ankle in yet another crash. Both are hospitalised, with Susanna vowing she'll never fly again.
It's a shame, but it will happen. When we fly on minimum, or the other word, maximum conditions, then when you attempt to dare, when you go to the edge, then there's every chance you're going to hurt yourself. And sometimes if you don't go to the edge, what the hell is it worth living for?
The wind has picked up even more speed, blowing at 20 knots and providing a race on the ground as support teams try to keep up.
Weather, luck, skill, that's everything. And the weather's got to be right when you take off, and especially when you land. It's extremely dangerous if it's not. We were trying to land in 20 to 25 knot winds the other day. We had some bad injuries. That's where skill comes in. When you land this balloon in a high wind, which you shouldn't do in the first place, but if you're forced to, you better know what you're doing.
I was tracking a balloon. He was in the sun and I had his shadow as I was going down the road. Yeah. And I was doing 30 miles an hour with the balloon shadow over me all the way.
It's hard to pick the right spot. All the time you're thinking to yourself, can I do better than this? Can I find somewhere better to land? But ultimately, once you make the decision, you've just got to do it, and no holds barred.
In one of these rough landings, Roz drags her head through a field of prickly salt bushes, damaging one of her ears.
We landed really heavily and...
I did about an 80-metre drag.
About an 80-metre drag, and about halfway through the drag, Roz got something in her ear. She sort of started saying, my ear, so we sent her back in a earlier car to go to the doctors to get checked out.
As soon as I hit the ground, I completely lost my hearing. I mean, as soon as it went in, I completely lost my hearing.
On one side or both sides?
On one side. And now it feels like it's gone on the other.
Back in Broken Hill, an unofficial contest that almost ends in tragedy. On top of this post is a silver ingot worth $8,000. Two of the Cross Australia challengers decide to try to pick it up. Jerry Elkins in the Rough Riders balloon from Wyoming, USA, makes a low swoop. In trying to scoop up the silver ingot, he loses height too quickly and is swept straight into the side of a house. In that collision, Jerry's burners set alight to the main envelope. Strips of burnt balloon fall to the ground. The house he smashes into shows signs of the force of the impact.
Well, there were seen to be 2 or 3 side panels that actually caught alight, because when he come across here and jagged down the roof, the burner was pointing straight at the floor. And it was going full chat. I reckon there was about 5 or 6 feet of flame shooting out of the burner. But it wasn't pointing at the balloon, it was pointing at the ground. And then when he eventually got it to point at the balloon, he set fire to the outside panels.
So this is a bit of balloon here. See? It's a bit of a shame, but you know, it's a bicentennial and all that. You know, people almost die on bicentennial day. Yeah, you know, it's true.
Jerry Elkins and his co-pilot, meanwhile, are still flying. Both men have been badly hurt and yet still have to land their stricken balloon.
Oh, yeah. You know, stuff happens.
What happened with the
I was so
flaming
worried.
How did that happen?
Jerry injured several ribs in that crash, but went on to compete in the final events of this now legendary race across Australia.
Encounters of the adrenaline-pumping kind. I really do hope you've enjoyed this program. In the meantime, I'm Greg Granger. Happy travels.